Because P. Diddy be wanting to party. And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. I did.
What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Sean Diddy Combs, one of the most powerful figures in hip-hop history. Bad Boy Records, Making the Band, decades of influence. And now, convicted and sitting in federal prison. But here's the wild part. If you go back and look at the interviews, the lyrics, the offhand comments from people in the industry over the years, some folks were trying to tell us something for a long, long time. Today we're breaking down the rappers, the artists, and the entertainers who, according to public statements and resurfaced footage, allegedly warned us about Diddy before everything came to light. Some were subtle.
Diddy party stories, man. That was like some weird memory lane. Ugh.
Some were not so subtle.
You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy camp?
Hell no.
Let's start with the most obvious one, 50 Cent. Fifth has been going at Diddy publicly for almost 2 decades. This beef reportedly started around 2006 when 50 Cent released The Bomb, a track where he suggested Combs might have been connected to the deaths of Tupac and Biggie. Now, there's no concrete evidence of that, but 50 planted that seed publicly nearly 20 years ago. But here's where it gets really interesting. Back in 2007, 50 Cent had a remix of I Get Money called the Forbes Remix, featuring both Jay-Z and Diddy. In October 2024, 50 did an interview on The Breakfast Club and revealed something wild about how that verse came together. During the interview, Charlemagne played Diddy's verse from that remix. And in the verse, Diddy is bragging about shootouts, coastal beefs, and how his lawyers are so good, he got acquitted.
Cut it out. Shootouts, coastal beef. I wasn't around, but that was like East Coast, West Coast. That was and then Keefy D comes out and says
50 Cent immediately started laughing and said Jay-Z helped him write that part. He explained that the lines about shootouts and coastal beefs referenced the East Coast, West Coast era, stuff 50 wasn't even around for. But Jay knew that Diddy wanted to say certain things, and according to 50, Jay would tell him to put specific lines in the record. So think about that. In 2007, Diddy recorded a verse where he's essentially bragging about being involved in shootouts and beefs, but escaping consequences because of his legal team. And according to 50 Cent, Jay-Z helped craft those exact lines. Diddy said it with his own mouth, almost 20 years before everything came crashing down. 50 brought up Keef D during that same interview, the man who's currently incarcerated for Tupac's murder and who has long alleged Diddy was somehow involved. In October 2023, before any of the major lawsuits dropped, 50 Cent was on his final lap tour describing Diddy's parties as uncomfortable. He said something along the lines of Diddy would hug you from the front and the back. At the same time, people laughed it off as typical 50 Cent trolling. Then when the federal raids happened in March 2024, 50 Cent immediately went to social media with the memes. He's been relentless, and now he's executive producing the Netflix documentary Sean Combs: The Reckoning, which dropped in December 2025. Say what you want about 50's motivations, but he's been consistent for years. Whether you think he knew something specific or was just beefing, the fact remains he was publicly questioning Diddy when most of the industry was silent. This one is more subtle, but way more disturbing when you think about it. In 2016, Usher appeared on The Howard Stern Show and talked about living with Diddy when he was just 14 years old. This was in the mid-90s when L.A. Reid sent him to New York for what both Usher and Stern referred to as Puffy Flavor Camp. Here's what Usher reportedly said.
You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy camp?
hell no.
That interview came out in 2016, 8 years before the arrest. And looking back now, those words hit different. Usher also said in a 2004 Rolling Stone interview that Diddy exposed him to a totally different set of things. He mentioned sex specifically, describing how there were always girls around. At the time, people wrote it off as the music industry being the music industry. Now, people are revisiting that footage with fresh eyes. Cat Williams might have given one of the most direct warnings, and he did it just months before everything unfolded. In January 2024, Cat appeared on Shannon Sharpe's Club Shay Shay podcast. That interview went viral for a lot of reasons, but one part that's aged particularly well is when Williams started talking about Diddy's parties.
Because P. Diddy be wanting to party, and you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no.
His exact reasoning was a bit vague, but he was specifically concerned about, let's say, certain areas of his body being protected. The audience laughed, but Cat wasn't really joking. Later in that same interview, Williams reportedly said that all of Diddy's lies would be exposed and he would be catching hell in 2024. That interview was in January. By September, Diddy was in federal custody. Whether Cat had actual inside information or just good instincts, the timing is remarkable. Eminem might be the most interesting case because he's been putting shots at Diddy in his music since 1996. That's almost 30 years of lyrical jabs. Early on, it was standard beef fare. References to Puff Daddy, jokes about his relationship with Jennifer Lopez, the usual Eminem provocation, but then came 2018's Kill Shot. In that track, Eminem dropped a bar suggesting Diddy would never admit to putting out a hit on Tupac. He followed it up by saying he was just playing, but the implication was out there. Fast forward to 2024 and M's album, The Death of Slim Shady. On the track Fuel, Eminem constructed wordplay that spelled out rapist while referencing Diddy by name.
We can just say I'm like an R-A-P-E-R. Got so many essays. Wait, he didn't just spell the word rapper and leave out a P, did he? Yep.
The internet went crazy dissecting those bars. On Antichrist from the same album, he referenced someone getting their ass beat worse than Diddy did, along with imagery that now seems directly connected to that hotel footage that surfaced of Diddy assaulting Cassie. Fans argue Eminem has been trying to tell us for years, whether it was inside knowledge or just his tendency to push buttons, those lyrics look prophetic now. Wendy Williams might have the longest documented history of questioning Diddy publicly. Back in the late 90s, when she was working at Hot 97 in New York, Williams has claimed that Diddy got her fired for speculating about his personal life on air. She wrote about it in her 2004 biography, saying she'd never forget what he put her through. But here's the wild part. In 2015, on her talk show, Williams was discussing Diddy's split from Cassie Ventura, and she made comments about how difficult it must be to date a mogul. She suggested Diddy could hire a plane, land on a hotel roof, pay people off at the front desk, and get a key to someone's room. In 2015, that sounded like speculation. Now, knowing what we know about the alleged surveillance and control, it sounds like she was describing something she'd seen or heard about. When Diddy was arrested, Williams told People magazine that many people had been telling her she called it. Her response was basically, yeah, she'd been saying this for years. Beyond the big names, there were also former collaborators who raised red flags. Mark Curry, known for working with Diddy on Bad Boy for Life, did an interview in December 2023, right after the first lawsuit started dropping. He spoke candidly about Diddy's parties, claiming that certain bottles of liquor were not to be touched by anyone but the women present.
And on this bottle, they be regular Moet bottles. On them bottles right there, they've been to have something to make the girls be real slippery and all of this kind of stuff.
The implication was that these bottles may have contained something else. Aubrey O'Day, former member of Danity Kane, has been vocal for years. She was fired by Diddy from the group in 2008. In 2019, she told Variety that she experienced everything from racial remarks to sexism, working under Combs, and that a lot of it was scary. On the Call Her Daddy podcast in 2022, O'Day claimed she was removed from Danity Kane because she refused to do things Diddy requested in other areas outside of music. She didn't elaborate, but the implication was clear. And then there's Maze, Diddy's former hype man, who publicly called Combs out over royalties and business practices. Jaguar Wright has been making claims about Diddy for years on various platforms, though her statements often get lumped in with other conspiracy theories. The point is, there was a pattern of former associates suggesting something wasn't right. Most people dismissed it as industry beef or bitter former employees. Now it looks different. So where does this leave us? Sean Combs built one of the most influential empires in hip-hop history. Bad Boy Records changed the game. His influence on fashion, music, and culture is undeniable. But if you look back at the interviews, the lyrics, the offhand comments stretching back decades, there were people trying to say something. Some were loud about it. Some were coded, some were dismissed as haters or clout chasers. Diddy has been convicted on 2 counts and is currently serving time while appealing his sentence. He was acquitted of the more serious charges. The legal process continues, and only time will tell how this all plays out. But one thing is clear. In an industry where silence often equals survival, there were voices who didn't stay quiet. Whether they knew something specific or just sensed something was off, history has a way of revealing who was paying attention. That's it for this one. Let me know in the comments what you think about all this. Like, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.